girlfriend and my son, John Ray Parker, is employed at Hutchinson's Medical Center. I also have 2 fine grandchildren, which they're out in the audience running around, Megan Elizabeth and Zachary Parker. For the past 26 years, I have worked for a large Chattanooga concern. Unfortunately, the Chattanooga concern closed and moved to Arkansas. I can relate with a lot of you people out there that has been into the same position that I've been in, where you have worked for a company for many, many years. You think you might retire there, and all of a sudden it's gone. I started as a production clerk. I didn't stay a production clerk. I moved to a supervisor's position. Then I moved to a production control manager, to a traffic manager, to a customer service manager, to a materials manager. We moved the plant to Arkansas. I became a product manager, and then I became the product line plant manager. We didn't like Arkansas. We'd prefer to be here. So we came back home. I have broadened my education and my leadership ability with 32 years in the United States Army Reserve. Some of you may have seen me running around here for the last 3 weeks in a military uniform. I was the commandant of a PLDC school out here at the Catoosa Training Center. We graduated close to 500 fine top NCOs. At the present time, I belong to an engineer battalion in Knoxville, Tennessee. I hold the rank of a command sergeant major, which is the highest enlisted rank in the military. In this engineer battalion, we build roads, bridges, buildings, just about any type of construction you can think of. It's time to make a decision in our county. It's time for a change. To take away from the good old boy syndrome, the buddy-buddy routine, the good friend routine. It's time that we take a good look at qualifications. It's time for a businessman's approach to this office. It's time to make a decision based on merit, experience, honesty, and loyalty to our county and for our people. It's time to know 100% of all of the angles of revenue, of expenditure, and require that nothing less than fairness and a balanced budget be established. It's time we make a decision about whether to zone or not to zone, and how. This is to be your decision. It's not to be my decision. It's got to be fair, and it's got to be logical. My first priority in zoning is to protect our natural resources. It's time that the leadership of this county help prepare security for our children and our children's children. It's time that we help to clean up this county, to clean up our roads, our creeks, our buildings. If I'm elected commissioner, and I certainly hope to be, I don't plan to run this county by myself. I want the input from the county. I want to establish an advisory board. And I want one representative from each district, or from each precinct. Whether it be male or female, that's fine. But this will be my advisory board. And we will make a decision based on what that committee says. Because that committee is going to be your eyes and ears. They will be from your district. They will know what you need and how to go about it. The people run the county. This office doesn't run the county. I'm only a tool in your hands. It's time to make decisions on sewers. It's time to make plans for growth. I want to personally thank the Greater Catoosa County Area Chamber of Commerce for adapting the ideal and gateway to Georgia. Because we are the gateway. And we've got to be proud of that fact and we've got to make sure that we protect it, whatever it takes. This is our county. We need strong, creative leadership for our county. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to close in saying that with your vote and support and your personal dedication to your community, I will challenge myself to provide the most loyal service humanly possible, to cooperate with all of the parties concerned for the benefit of the county. It's time we elect a man who will work for all of the county. It's time we elect John Parker. Thank you.
Harry Payne, Democrat, Commissioner of Roads and Revenue.
Thank you, Brother Bruce. Y'all hear me all right? I'd like to thank the Ringo JCs for this rally and the people here for attending. Let me take a few minutes and tell you about myself, what my qualifications are, what I believe in, what I do to help Catoosa County and you, the people. I'm Harry Payne, a candidate for Commissioner of Roads and Revenue. I was born in Catoosa County. I've lived here all my life, except when I was getting an education in Atlanta. I attended Ringo Public Schools, and I graduated from Ringo High School. I attended West Georgia College, and I graduated from Smith Technical School in Atlanta. I worked for a large mechanical contracting firm in Atlanta, where I was a foreman. I had my own plumbing business here in Ringo for 13 years. I had to close that business when the interest rates went so high and put us out. I joined Local 43 in Chattanooga, and I worked for Honeywell Controls, where I worked as a foreman. I worked for Rust Engineering as a foreman. I've been married to Mary Ann for 24 years. I have 2 daughters. I have one daughter graduated with honors from Ringo High School, and she'll be a junior at the University of Georgia. And I have another daughter who'll be in the 8th grade at Ringo Junior High. I've served as president of the Ringo JCs, and I also was a charter member. And it's kind of come full circle here, where we put on this rally. Now I'm up here. I served as president of the Ringo PTA. I served as president of the Ringo Girls Softball League and treasurer. Have you ever wondered why people run for public office? Do y'all remember the snow of '88? Well, while sitting in those rooms, I made that decision to run for this office. I thought I was the only one that cared about these issues. But after I've gone door to door, I'm like Ken Poston. I've been bitten twice, and I've lost 18 pounds. But I found out there's a lot of people like you that care about this county and are concerned about it and want to move forward. The big problems to me are building codes, sewers, zoning, and recreation. I know that there are many more problems, but these are the big ones that we're going to have to address very quickly. Let me tell you how we solve these problems with your help. Building codes. Building codes are a protection for the homeowners and for businesses. Current buildings and homes will not be effective unless you remodel them. We have plumbing, electrical, and heating and air conditions already, the codes already in effect statewide. All we have to do is adopt them. It will not cost the county anything. The permit fees will pay for the inspectors. Sewers is a really big problem. This problem will be very costly to the county. We would need lots of revenue. I would apply for every grant possible from the state and federal agencies. Did you know there was $44 million available this year from the state? The city of Dallin got $4.5 million of that money. The city of Chickamauga got $1.9 million. We did not apply, as best as I can find out. I don't know why, but I will. I'll be down there looking for those monies. I know there's a lot of money out there if we just go after it. But I would let the people decide if there's other avenues of monies, such as 1% referendum. And I would let the people decide where we start this sewer program. There's got to be a starting point somewhere. Zoning is a very controversial issue. I would contact Coosa Valley Planning Commission in the first few days after I take office. Let them have a survey of the county. And while they were doing that, I would appoint a steering committee, one from each voting district, and let them meet with the people, have open door meetings. Let the people have a say. Let's hear the pros and cons. I know there's some areas out there that don't really need it, but I know also there are a lot of bad areas that really need it. Recreation. There's nothing wrong with our current programs. What we need is facilities. I know y'all think when I talk about recreation that I'm talking about baseball fields and softball fields. Well, that is a part of it, but that is not all of it. I see a large complex for all ages. Walking and jogging tracks, playgrounds, inside facilities. This year, the Outdoor Recreation Commission had $16 million available on a matching 50-50 basis. We did not apply for this money. I will. I'll be seeking this money. As you can see, my qualifications and background match these problems. I have dealt with these problems in business and recreation on an everyday basis. These problems are why industry and companies are not relocating here now. Thank you again for coming. I need your vote and support. Thank you.
Brady Pless, Democrat.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I thought we'd get this thing fixed. Well, we can't. Okay. Thank you. I want to thank the JCs and everybody's here tonight to listen to these gentlemen. And on August the 9th, you people will have a privilege of going to the polls and voting for one of us that's running. But I want to bring up something that is very important to me. That is, Mr. Payne brought it up about recreation. I proposed in my platform that we would build over the next 4 years 4 community centers for our children. We have built a jail complex back here to house prisoners that 45% might belong to Catoosa County, and the rest of them are from out of town, and we're feeding them. And we can't afford nothing for our children. And that is not right. We got a few baseball fields over here, softball fields, and that's about what we've got. That is not what we need. We need something for our children. We need swimming pool. We need a building of 40 by 80 that will have a concrete floor, inexpensive, but yet it won't cost us but around $1.5 million over 4 years, and one can be built each year, and that way we can take care of the situation without a tax increase. And another thing, we're talking about sewers. I said in my platform that we could put sewers in most of the county over the next 10 years, and don't let this white hair fool you. I'm going to be here till the rest of you are gone, I hope. So don't let the white hair fool you. Somebody said, oh, you're not going to vote for that old white-haired car salesman, are you? Yes, I believe this is Brady's time. I think people have woke up that I'm not the crook that people had me designated as a crook back when I ran before. Because I have never had my desires to steal anything from anybody. And I think I'm a businessman. I hope I am. I started a car business with $5,700. I have on my books $130,000. And every Monday morning, I laugh and smile all the way to the bank. I have given people a ride that can't afford one, that the banks won't loan them the money, but Brady will carry their notes for them. And they're poor people. And I love poor people and middle-class people. And when I get over in this office, then that will be everybody's office. I don't take any contributions from nobody on my campaign. I'm just me, Brady Pless, and I don't mistreat anybody. And I don't want to mistreat anybody. I don't want nobody to mistreat me. But if you get on me, well, I tell you all, I really will. But let's get on with business. Okay, we've got zoning, just like everybody's harping on now. We do need zoning. Okay, I'm not going to hold you all that. Sewers, we need sewers badly, and I explained that. In the next 10 years, we can have sewers without too much of expense to the taxpayers. Okay, recreation, I've done covered that. Water, we need water over in Keith very, very bad. Those people over have wells. When it's dry, they dry up, and they have to come to our springs over here to get water, a lot of them. And that is a place that I said in my platform that we would put water. And we need a larger tank than what we have, and that way we can reserve water for the hard times. Okay, I want to get down here and I want to say something. Nobody that has got up here has said anything about our past commissioner. We had a good past commissioner, Commissioner Moore. And I want to say that I appreciate him deeply. We didn't have any roads when he went in, and we got roads, we got bridges now that you can drive over without knocking your headlight off the inside of your car. I think that's wonderful. Even a drunk can drive across it. Now then, darling, I want to mention you. I've been with you 27 years with the same woman. Yesterday was our anniversary, and I just want to say that I love my wife. Is that all right? Ain't nothing wrong with it. You ought to love your wife. You ought to love your husband. We'd have a good county, clean county. I'm a member of the Church of Christ. I want you to know all about me. Okay. I'm still a workhorse and not a show horse. Thank God we're free people. We have the privilege of voting like we want to, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow where I can meet more people. Thank you, and vote for me on August the 9th, and we'll keep going, and we will strive on for better things for Catoosa County. And we've got an industrial park coming, and thanks to Mr. Wayne Rollins, I appreciate that, Mr. Wayne Rollins. I don't know where you're at, but I hope you hear me, and I hope they tell you that I said it. I appreciate it. I love every one of you. God bless all of us.
Jack Rowan, Democrat.
Thank you, Bruce. I'm going to try to start tonight showing the people of Catoosa County how considerate I'm going to be and how thoughtful. I know a lot of you have been standing for a long time, so I'm going to try to be as brief as I can, but try to be informative also. I've been a Catoosa County resident for 36 years. All three of my children, Angela, Greg, and Andrea, have attended Catoosa County schools. Two of them have graduated. My youngest, the Brat, she will be a senior this year at Lakeview Fourth Ward High School. My wife, Ann, we've been married for 28 years. She is a secretary at Lakeview High School. I've been with combustion engineering for 29 years as a designer. I attended the University of Chattanooga when I was there, it wasn't UTC. I've been to different parts of the country. I've traveled for combustion to work out problems with people. I've had to deal with problems. I've had to learn to listen to people to see what their problems are on the job. And my job that I do at the present, checking piping, steel, I gather materials and specifications for bids that we have to send out. Everything that I do in my job relates to things that the commissioner has to do in his job. There's many things that we're going to have to face when we go into office, and they've all been covered by each one of the commissioners here tonight. We're going to have to face zoning to some extent. We are going to have to face our building codes. We're going to have to look into our sewer problem, our sewage problem that we do have. We need a sewage system. We need water. The commissioner has no direct control over the water system, but he can work with the water system to help get grants to get this water to the people that needs it. I will go after every grant that I could possibly get to help keep our taxes at a low rate. We are going to be growing. We're one of the fastest growing counties in the state of Georgia percentage-wise. So we're going to have to face this fact, folks, that we're going to be growing. So we need to get control of it and grow with it and make sure that we grow to be one of the best counties. I love Catoosa County. I've worked in various community projects over the years. I worked in Little League ball for 15 years. I've worked on many school projects to help the county save money. I've helped raise money to air condition one of our schools one time. It didn't cost the county one penny. We raised thousands of dollars. So I've helped in many, many ways to try to help cut taxes over the years in various things that we've done. I don't know of many things that I can say that I will do. I can't stand here tonight and tell you that I know everything, because I don't. If I was to tell you folks that, I know that you would know that I was lying. I believe in no big eyes and no little U's. I treat people decent, whether it be male, female, black, or white. I've always tried to treat people decent because I like to be treated decent. And as your commissioner, if you come into that office, you will be treated as a person. You will be treated with respect. You will be listened to. So as your commissioner, I will try to do everything I can to make Catoosa County one of the best places, not only for you and me, our kids, our grandkids to live. There's a lot of things tonight that each commissioner has shared. There's a few things that we differ on. But come August the 9th, there's one thing that we cannot share, folks, and that's your vote. I want your vote, and I need your vote, because I want to be your commissioner January the 1st, 1989. Thank you very much.
Bill Wooten, Republican.
Thank you, Bruce. Well, it's been a long, warm night out here, hasn't it, folks? Maybe the last is not the least. I certainly hope so. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Bill Wooten. I'm seeking the office of County Commissioner. That's this office right here on my left. It's not going to be my office. That office belongs to you folks. I'd like to remind you of that. Keep that in mind. I'm married to Yvonne Wooten. Have been happily married for 38 years. Now, that's not to say we haven't had a few spats in our time, because we have, just as most families have. We have 3 wonderful children, all educated in Catoosa County schools. I have 4 wonderful grandchildren at this time. Got a new one. He's only 10 months old. That's good old Jake, and he's out there in the crowd. You know, we live up here in the West Side community on Janet Drive. We've been in this county for over 23 years now. And we weren't born here. But I'll tell you what we're here by. We're here by our choice. We chose to make Catoosa County our home, to raise our children in a very productive way and maybe a benefit to our and to society in Catoosa County. I started my career, just a little short synopsis of my background. I started my career as a truck driver, driving an 18-wheeler. Now, if any of you have ever driven a truck, an 18-wheeler, it's a tough job. I did it. I became a job steward on a union job. I represented the men on the job, contract negotiations, labor relations. My company, the company I was working for, thought I'd done such a good job in my performance, they offered me a job with the company. So I took it because I saw a great many advantages there. They offered me a job as a terminal manager. I don't know if you know what a terminal manager does, but a terminal manager is involved in many facets of labor. They're involved with budgets, they administer offices, they're involved in heavy-duty maintenance, computers, sales, and marketing. You know, it seems like in my company, the Ryder system, whenever there's a trouble spot, my phone would ring and my boss would say, "Bill, pack you a bag. Go to Charlotte, North Carolina, or Charleston, South Carolina." Said, we've got problems there. So finally ended up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We did a pretty good job over there because then it was off to the district. That was terminals in Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee. So apparently I had done a pretty good job. And once again, I'd like to remind you about background. We had a budget. We had to present a budget to our home office for our terminals, our respective terminals. We're involved in administration, hiring, firing, personnel, the whole gamut, maintenance, like I said. So after a few years here in Chattanooga, my company offered to transfer me to Louisiana. And I might say that quite an increase in salary, but we were perfectly happy in Catoosa County. So we decided to stay. Well, here I stood without a job. So I went out and got my job as a traffic manager at a carpet mill. Worked for those folks for a few years and had an offer from another carpet mill as traffic manager, and I joined Jorger's Carpet Mills as traffic manager. And after a few months at Jorger's Carpet Mills, apparently my job performance was pretty good there too. They gave me more responsibility and made me a plant manager. I kind of liked that, and I felt, well, Bill, you've been out making a lot of money for everybody in the eastern United States in the transportation industry, so why not do it for yourself? So I went in my own business, formed a truck leasing firm, a brokerage firm, and a fleet of trucks. Built myself a couple of buildings, went into business on my own. Now you folks that have been in business on your own, you realize that if you don't make it happen, you're going to go down the drain. Well, Bill Wooten made it happen. And I'd set myself a goal to retire at age 55. Well, the opportunity came along. I grabbed it. I beat that goal, but 4 years I retired at age 51. So I'm retired. I've got plenty of time for this job as your commissioner. You know, we've talked about issues. There's been a lot of issues. Sewers, zoning, building codes, recreation, jobs, and all these things have been talked about here tonight. But not one of these gentlemen up here, nor myself, have all the answers to this. We've got to go in this office. We've got to make things happen, just like I told you about, doing on the job. When I'm commissioner of this county, I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need your assistance. I want you to come into your office. I want you to talk to me. I'll listen. And I'd like for you to listen. You know, Catoosa County, we're a couple steps ahead of most of our neighboring counties. We've got a lot of assets right here in our hands. We're very fortunate. We've got an interstate running down through the center of our county, 4 exits. People spend dollars in this county. We have access to a lot of other assets. We live in the metropolitan area of Chattanooga. Whether we like it or not, we're Georgians. There's no question about that. We have a metropolitan airport in Chattanooga. We've got good rail transportation, river transportation, and great truck transportation. We've got an abundance of water in this county. We've got an educational system that's second to none. But you know something that I haven't heard anybody mention up here tonight? We've got a resource in this county that's the backbone of this nation. We've got over 50 churches in this county. Now, you can send your children to school. They can teach them to read, write, and do arithmetic. But where do they learn morality, and where do they learn good citizenship? In our churches. That's a resource that we need to be proud of. And we're blessed with it. You know, I have the experience to provide leadership for this county. We've got an imaginary line up here at Peavine Creek. This county for years and years has been totally separated on every issue. Ringo's been banging Fort Oglethorpe, and Fort Oglethorpe's been banging Ringo. Now it's time we came together. I feel like I'm the person that can provide that leadership. That's going to be my #1 goal. I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn. Everyone else is going to learn. I'm going to pursue every avenue to make this a much greater place to live. Thank you very much for attendance. Thank you very much for listening to me. I would appreciate your support. God bless you.
We appreciate your coming. We appreciate the candidates coming. We appreciate the Ringo JCs and their support of our community and county. We appreciate Gary Young in putting this program together. May God bless you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Appreciate it, Bill.
Thank you very much.
See y'all.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Bill.
Black's floor covering is moving into a brand new building, and $1 million worth of inventory must go. Special savings for the next 90 days for up to 70% off. Come in and take advantage of these great specials.
Call this toll-free number in Dalton, Georgia for the best price on any
and Reagan loyalist. He was fired. Those editorial and congressional calls for Mises' resignation are now coming from the right, not the left. And President Reagan, as you've just heard, is now saying Mies should stay as a matter of principle. The personal and political drama of Edwin Mies is once again center stage in Washington, and John Martin brings us up to date.
Edwin Mies faces a modern Washington predicament. He has been under investigation for months, but not charged. He sits at the center of controversy and ridicule, but he refuses to quit.
Obviously, I shouldn't step aside because, look, if honest public officials can be hounded out of office by partisan political attacks, by media barrages, then no honest public official is safe.
The suspicions about Edwin Mies involve everything from a corrupt defense contractor to a Middle East pipeline deal to antitrust decisions involving stock he owned. Although 2 of his associates have been indicted and Mies himself has repeatedly appeared before a grand jury, there have been no formal accusations. So, is he a corrupt public official? Or is he just unwisely loyal to his friends? Or is he the victim of a political vendetta by his enemies? Today, the president defended him as a friend.
I have complete confidence in him. And I know it because there have been a great many allegations made, but nothing has been proven, and I've seen no evidence of any wrongdoing on his part of the kind that is inferred in the allegations that are being kicked around. And right now, on this particular thing, I think you'd have to talk to him about that. I think there's more than meets the eye with regard to this latest departure.
The departure of Justice Department spokesman Terry Eastland shocked even Mies' associates. He was fired, and Eastland implied it was over how strongly he was willing to defend Mies.
In my letter, the Attorney General wants someone who is willing to defend him apparently very aggressively, more so apparently than I have done.
Whatever the reason for it, Eastland's dismissal created an uproar among Republicans. George Bush's campaign staff says Mies' problems are hurting Bush's candidacy.
Anytime you have an administration problem, and this is one, it has an effect if the sitting vice president becomes the candidate.
The Washington Times called on Mies to resign, more out of sadness than suspicion.
Our argument's really kind of utilitarian. The sad fact is that the attention and the effort required to clear one's name is simply inconsistent with running the Department of Justice.
Nobody can answer that question as to whether the Justice Department is going down the tubes, but that is a big question which confronts the country today when you have so many resignations and you have so many distractions that involve the Attorney General himself.
I've had people tell me, I mean, they go and they're almost ashamed to say where they work because people start snickering.
Through it all, Edwin Meese has protested his innocence and condemned his critics, calling them a lynch mob.
The problems are not what's going on within the Department of Justice or the leadership here, but it is all of the false statements and false accusations on the outside.
On the outside, it seems at times as if the whole world is laughing at Ed Meese, a fugitive hiding out in his own office, a dunce who shoots himself in the head, a fireman insisting there's no fire. The New York Times recently called him Attorney General Clouseau.
You have a license, monsieur?
Inspector Clouseau, the addled French detective. Meese's critics see his apparent blindness to possible improprieties as the real-life equivalent of a Clouseau movie. And television comics think so, too.
Little news bulletin today you may have missed. Attorney General Ed Meese was not indicted for anything today.
What about the Attorney General? Personally, I feel we ought to have one.
It was this constant barrage of ridicule that concerned some of the men who quit the Justice Department. William Weld, who ran the criminal division before leaving, said walking into a courtroom subjected his attorneys to the fear of laughter.
Last year alone, Meese has had his hand on more Bibles than Billy Graham, and yet...
Still, neither President Reagan nor Meese have succumbed to the pressure of ridicule or controversy, perhaps because both men cannot forget the words of a cabinet member who was accused of crimes and then exonerated.
Nothing has been proven. These allegations continue to be made. This has been true of others. This was true of Ray Donovan. And his poignant line, I think, fit the situation.
You remember what Ray said? He said, what office do I go to now to get my reputation back?
So the question is whether an innocent man is losing his reputation or whether an entire department of government is losing its credibility because its leader cannot remove his personal problems from his professional duties. This is John Martin for Nightline in Washington.
When we come back, we'll talk to the man named to replace Terry Eastland as Edwin Meese's official spokesman, Patrick Corton, and with Eugene Hickok, a former Justice Department official who suggests that the department may need more than public relations to deal with its problems.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Ragu.
Relax.
She's here. Relax.
Relax.
Carol, you're an angel. I won't be a bother. Oh, Michael, bring me that bag.
What's in here?
It's an old